The impacts, they span 15 states, from Tennessee all the way to Maine. We have already seen some slowdowns in places like Ohio, but here in Pennsylvania, the Department of Transportation is warning people to avoid unnecessary travel.
Tennessee voters heading to the polls today in the special election for the state's 7th congressional district, which includes the city of Nashville. Republican Matt Van Epps is running against a far-left Democrat named Afton Bann, who made it clear how she feels about Nashville.
I've been heavily involved with the Nashville mayoral race because I hate the city, I hate the bachelorettes, I hate the pedal taverns, I hate country music.
Van Epps says the choice is easy.
And the distinction between the two of us cannot be more clear. I'm a Christian, a husband, a father, an America First conservative, a combat veteran. I served in Iraq and Afghanistan as a helicopter pilot, served in state government, led in small business, still serving in the National Guard. And the dynamics of a special election right now after Thanksgiving is just different than the normal election cycle.
Outkick host and Nashville native Clay Travis says this Democrat woman has no business running for any office in the state of Tennessee.
This woman wants to defund the police. She continues to refuse to even condemn that opinion. Even crazy people in the Democrat Party now try and pretend they didn't say this back in 2020. She hates country music and bachelorettes. The reason the city of Nashville is partly thriving to such an extent, and this community is thriving so much, is because so many young women feel comfortable coming here because Nashville is a safe community. We want to make it safer. We want more police. I'm a native, born and raised Nashvilleian. We cannot allow this carpetbagger to come into our community and do what she is trying to do, which is turn Tennessee into California, turn Tennessee into New York. We have to make a statement. We have to repudiate and reject her and vote for Matt Van Epps.
The Trump administration has announced new immigration restrictions following the shooting of 2 National Guard members by a suspect who is an Afghan national. The Trump administration has said these steps are necessary to ensure that those entering the country or already here do not pose a security threat. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says Afghan nationals flooded the U.S. because of Joe Biden's weak leadership.
We continue to live with the deadly consequences of Joe Biden's horrific leadership. Nearly 100,000 Afghans were recklessly released into the United States with little to no vetting. But the terrifying truth is that the Afghanistan debacle is just a small part of Democrats' complete and total betrayal of the American people during the Biden years.
And finally, a taxpayer watchdog is shocked by news that the U.S. Postal Service is getting electric trucks. Chris Woodward has more.
According to an analysis by the Washington Post, the average EV truck is costing the U.S. Postal Service $80,000. That's compared to gas-powered trucks, which the Postal Service has also been acquiring at $55,000. Ross Marchand of Taxpayers Protection Alliance.
Clearly, there's a significant price difference, and that price difference is falling squarely on taxpayers and customers.
Marchand adds that USPS has been losing money, and not just in recent years.
We just found out that in fiscal year 2025, the Postal Service lost $9 billion. That's billion with a B. And in 2024, they lost $9.5 billion. Over the past 15 years, they've lost about $100 billion. And how are they responding to this fiscal crisis? By buying $80,000 trucks. Make it make sense.
I'm Chris Woodward.
More news online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app for your Apple or Android device. I'm Rusty Pugh.
AFA Action takes attacks on the family seriously. The enemies of the family constantly employ new tactics to try to sneak past our radar. They know if we stand together, their evil plans will fail. Your gift to AFA Action allows us to stay vigilant against their onslaught. And if you give this month, you'll receive access to the Cultural Institute video When Your Faith is Illegal by Frank Harbor on AFA Stream as our thanks. You can make your gift today at afaaction.net.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Thanks for listening to AFR. on this Tuesday, December the 2nd, 2025. And studio with me today is Wesley Wildmon. Good morning, Wesley.
Good morning.
And Chris Woodward.
Good morning.
And joining us from sunny Florida, I guess it's sunny today.
Yeah, Tim.
Ray Pritchard.
Yeah, I hate to say this.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, it's only 77 degrees here in Hudson, Florida this morning. And back in Kansas City, where we usually live, it's 19 degrees with about 6 inches of snow on the ground.
Now, you and Marlene decided to become snowbirds for the first time this year, right?
That's right.
So I remember how excited you were to share that news with us, and
I'm still excited.
Still excited. And so, what you're going to live 6 months in Florida, 6 months in KC?
Right now,
the
maybe
plan?
5 months down here in Florida, and then in April back to Kansas City.
Yeah,
as that's the plan right now, anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. That's like being somebody once told me that. They were a Alabama football fan and a Kentucky basketball fan. And I said,
That doesn't work that way.
That's not right.
You can't do that. So
and that was during their prime. That's when Kentucky was
winning championships every year. So Ray's Florida in the winter and Kansas City in the springtime.
This summer. That's right.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're from Kansas City, a part of the country that's known for its barbecue.
That's right.
Have you found anywhere in Florida, the great free state of Florida, with some good barbecue?
We did go to a barbecue place here, and it made me miss Kansas City. It wasn't awful, right? It was not. It's not awful, Chris. It was good, but it did make me miss Joe's barbecue.
I think
Kansas
Chris,
City.
the main thing is the type of animal that you barbecue.
That's true.
Here and in Kansas City, it would be like cow, maybe, or
That's right.
maybe pork. But you go to Central Florida, where Ray is.
Iguanas
and
alligators,
and alligators.
That's right, alligator.
Alligator is good. That's a tasty.
I do enjoy
creature.
alligator.
What is it?
It's like the texture of steak, but it looks like chicken, but it's the texture of steak.
Yeah, I've never had it in any other way than alligator bites, which is like little bitty nuggets, like shrimp bites.
Yeah,
that size. So I don't know if it's cooked any other way, if I'd like it the same way, but the gator bites are really good.
There are certain. Maybe it's just the way you grow up and what your mind is accustomed to. They're just
possum.
There's just certain animals that
we got to draw a line somewhere.
I just my soul rejects. I just
on spiritual grounds.
I can't eat an alligator.
Yes,
I don't. I know it's probably maybe tasty.
I know what you're saying,
but it's when it goes in my mouth and I'm thinking, do you understand what you're putting in your mouth?
An alligator.
I say that about
an alligator
chitlins.
in your
yes.
mouth.
Look, I see these TV shows of the rattlesnake poacher or rattlesnake catchers down in Texas.
Yeah,
and people eat rattlesnake.
Yeah, they do.
Meat.
Yeah, that's right. They do.
That is beyond me. That's far beyond me.
I don't. The Bible doesn't speak to that, does it, Ray?
Not that I know of.
It's in an obscure verse in Leviticus somewhere.
Hey, Ray, we were talking yesterday during the program. We're in December now. And I know that you have in the past you've done you had a booklet, right?
Right.
For Christmas, leading up to Christmas.
Right, an Advent devotional, yeah.
Advent devotional. Are we in that season now?
We are in that season.
Okay.
And I did, the one last year was Advent from the Gospel of Luke, and the one this year is called Behold the Lamb, Advent from the Gospel of John, it's so different. John is deep. But, if you're looking for the angels and the shepherds, you got to go to Luke. If you're looking for the wise men and Herod and the star from the east, you got to go to Matthew. But if you want to know Christmas before Bethlehem, what was it like going all the way back into eternity? What was God's plan from the beginning? Read the Gospel of John. It's profound. It's deep. And today, Tim, we did John 1:5. The light shines in the world, and the darkness cannot overcome it. I found it's one of the most encouraging verses in all the Bible because the light is shining, the darkness hates the light, it attacks it, but it cannot overcome it. Just two quick things here. Number one, Isaiah says the people who walk in darkness have seen a great light. There's the problem. There's the solution. What's the problem of the world today? Not just darkness, but deep darkness, deep moral and spiritual, intellectual darkness. The darkness is around us, and the darkness is getting darker all the time. And into that deep darkness, a bright light from heaven started shining in Bethlehem. It is still shining today. So let me just give this word of encouragement to all of our AFR friends. Sometimes you look around and do you ever feel like the bad guys are winning? Sometimes I think even the stories we do here on TI, I feel like the bad guys are winning. Mm-hmm. And I think God says, scoreboard. You don't look at the scoreboard in the middle of the third quarter. What you need to do is look at it at the end of the game. And God in the book of Revelation put the scoreboard up. Jesus wins. He wins big, and he's completely undefeated. Be encouraged, friends. Shine your light in the darkness around you because Jesus Christ has come. He is the light of the world. The darkness cannot overcome it. So, Tim, that's the best news I've got here on this Tuesday.
Amen. Well, and in the Bible, Jesus Christ is called, goes by several different names, but one of them is the light of the world, right?
That's exactly right. In fact, John 8 says, Jesus said, I am the light of the world. But remember what he said, in Matthew 5. He said to us, you who have, you, my disciples, my followers, you are the light of the world. So as we follow Jesus, his light comes into us. We walk into the darkness around us and we shine the light of Jesus, and the darkness cannot overcome it. It's just tremendous good news, which is why Christmas is a time not just of carols and music. It's a time of bright lights because the light started shining in Bethlehem. It's still shining today.
Amen.
Also in the New Testament, it says that the perfect love of Jesus cast out fear, and also living in light of eternity. So with the Christian, as we grow in our faith, we continue to grow with eternal mindset, meaning that we know, as Ray mentioned, we know the scoreboard, but also too, it gives us confidence and encouragement during the dark times to continue to press forward, knowing that our eternal soul is rested in heaven.
Amen.
But again, just for a moment, there's a counter to that too. If there's a destination for those that have put their faith in Christ and repented of their sins, there's also a destination for those that haven't. And knowing both destinations and studying both really makes one, it really polarizes the difference between the two. Mm-hmm. And so, we
Amen.
Here on AFR, we encourage those that there's people that have been listening, I'm sure, for years and really enjoy our content, and they're very conservative and very active, but maybe they have not found the need yet to put their faith and their trust in Jesus. And as it says in the Gospels, there's no other route to heaven except for through Jesus. And so
Amen.
We encourage people to repent of their sins and trust the Lord Savior, Jesus Christ, and live in light of eternity.
Amen. Absolutely. You're listening to today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. And at the bottom of the hour, Jenna Ellis will be with us. And we got a lot of topics to talk about with Jenna. So we look forward to that conversation. Chris, what's your first news story today?
Well, Ray and his wife may not be the only people that are thinking about moving to warmer weather. I say that because in Chicago, which obviously is a place known for cold weather, they're in the news because Chicago faces its worst start to winter in nearly 150 years, according to a weather blogger by the name of Ryan Mao. Chicago is looking at temperatures potentially dropping to negative 14 degrees Fahrenheit in the coming days. This is all due to what's being described as a polar vortex. This blogger, Ryan Mao, posted on X, if you continue stretching the polar vortex, eventually it will let loose obscenely cold air. By next weekend and the following week, the bottom drops out completely with coldest early December temperatures since 1876 in Chicago.
Well,
it's not going to touch Florida, though, is it?
Come to Florida, friends.
I know, right? Where is Al Gore when you need him?
Right.
That's right.
I mean, we need Al Gore right now.
We need
more than ever. we need some global warming, and he's just, we seem to be going the opposite direction.
Yes.
This is
we need more destruction.
I counted on. I counted on global warming, and here we are going the wrong way.
I just don't.
So we're not flying enough jets.
In all seriousness, of course, nobody controls the weather, right?
Except for God.
God, but God sets nature in motion, and I don't. Well, we're going to get.
You're going.
We're going to get some deep theological area here. I don't think God controls the. God does control planet Earth.
Sure.
But God doesn't. God doesn't stop nature from taking its course, and He's the creator of nature. And this polar vortex that they're talking about. If it were warm weather, if we were having the most warm weather we've had in 100 and whatever years, 50 years in Chicago, you better bet we will be hearing, see here?
Oh, yeah.
This is proof of man-made global warming. But when we have freezing your rear end off in the 1st of December, they switch over to, well, it's just a polar vortex coming down.
That's not global cooling.
That's not global cooling. It's just a polar vortex that we're having to deal with. But it is. Listen, in all seriousness, Ray, the cold is causing a lot of ice and snow. I mean, I know our friends up north are used to it, but not starting even in Chicago.
They're used to it in January.
Yeah,
right, but not this early in December.
Yeah.
And Chris, does this mean we're going to have an extremely cold January and February?
I've not seen that in terms of like our neck of the woods. But
you know about these things, Chris?
It's hard to dig that far out too.
While I did graduate from a university well known for meteorology, I'm not a meteorologist. You could probably Google it and find some different answers. Generally, what I'm concerned about when you see cold like this and then you see warm weather somewhere else, that spells bad news for us because we're always prone to a tornado.
I tell you what I'm concerned about with cold weather, and if it dips any further south,
we're going to miss it.
Well, it's my attitude.
I'm not a fan of this weather.
It affects my personality.
Yes.
And
I don't like being cold at night when I sleep.
I tell you what we need to do, fellas. You need to check out the Farmer's Almanac. That's always been.
That's right. It's the source of all truth, right there.
Farmer's Almanac will tell you what's going to happen. So you're listening to today's issues. Are you checking out the Farmer's Almanac?
I sure am.
What is it?
All right. So Google says the Farmer's Almanac forecast a wild ride for winter 2025 and 2026, predicting a cycle of cold, snow, and repeat for most of the country, particularly in the northern plains and New England. The old-fashioned winter may not be as brutally cold as the previous year, but it's still going to be significantly cold, possibly lasting until April.
That's just happens every year.
Right.
How did they get away with
winter
selling
up north,
that?
right?
Yeah, people buy that.
Sure do.
It's called weather.
That's just,
Yeah.
That's called seasons.
Hey, I have a prediction. If the Lord tarries, the sun will come out tomorrow and rise in the east.
So says the.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's right.
All right, next story.
All right. Let's mention this real quick because there has been some concerns about President Trump's health due to the fact that he is approaching 80. The president is currently 79 years old, and in recent days, the president has had at least one MRI, maybe a few MRIs done to look for things. News reporters found out about this, asked Caroline Leavitt about it yesterday, but the White House says nothing to worry about here. It's just a routine type thing. I've got the audio of Leavitt talking about Trump's MRIs somewhere on my list here. Number 9.
Cut number 9.
As part of President Trump's comprehensive executive physical, advanced imaging was performed because men in his age group benefit from a thorough evaluation of cardiovascular and abdominal health. The purpose of this imaging is preventative, to identify any issues early, confirm overall health, and ensure the president maintains long-term vitality and function. President Trump's cardiovascular imaging was perfectly normal. No evidence of arterial narrowing impairing blood flow or abnormalities in the heart or major vessels. The heart chambers are normal in size, the vessel walls appear smooth and healthy, and there are no signs of inflammation or clotting. Overall, his cardiovascular system shows excellent health. His abdominal imaging is also perfectly normal. All major organs appear very healthy and well perfused. Everything evaluated is functioning within normal limits with no acute or chronic concerns. In summary, this level of detailed assessment is standard for an executive physical at President Trump's age and confirms that he remains in excellent overall health.
One thing that stood out to me here is, number one, reporters, they have every right to ask about this. People should be concerned about the health of any president. But where were these reporters when Joe Biden was in there bumbling and fumbling around the White House?
Yeah, I'm not. I wouldn't be so. By the way, what does well perfused mean?
Yeah, let me look.
She said well perfused, and she lost me right there on that one. But anyway.
Well perfused means that an area of the body is receiving an adequate supply of blood, oxygen, and nutrients through good blood flow.
All right. Well, you can get that from like drinking tomato juice, can't you? Which I don't do, by the way. So well perfused. In all seriousness, Ray, what we're talking about here, as Chris said, people do have a right to know. I know it's the president of the United States. I know it's Donald Trump is a private. Well, he's not a private. He has a right to his own health analysis. But when you become president of the United States, your mental and your physical, other things other than mental, do become an issue of public
concern
awareness.
Awareness.
Go ahead.
Well, this comes on the heels of 4 years of Joe Biden, where his decline, and truly sad, his decline was both sad and obvious and visible, to the point that, remember, a year ago they kicked him off the ticket and put Kamala Harris in there, right? That's how bad.
Yes.
That's how bad it becomes. So I don't blame anybody for. Look, I don't know if there should be an age limit for the president or not. That's a different kind of debate. But I'll say this: when you've got a man who's 79 years old, if you just take that report at face value, Tim, he must be in the upper 5%, in the upper 3% or 2% of 79-year-old men to get a health report like that. I was trying to do the math. I am 6 years behind the president. I'm very doubtful that I would get a report as positive as what Donald Trump got. So maybe it's as some people say, maybe it's his God-given metabolism.
Have you had a full body MRI?
No, I have not. Okay. I've had in relation to the cancer treatment, I had MRIs, and that's one way that we caught it and started the treatment. No, I've not had what the president has. He had the, as they say, the executive physical. I want my president to have the executive physical. It's remarkable that a man of 79 could be in such good health.
Yeah, and you would expect some decline, right, in certain things.
Yeah.
I mean, 79.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and a half.
And a half.
Oh, yeah.
You start counting halves after 70, right?
Oh, right.
That's right.
Well,
that's right.
Anyway, yeah, President Trump, I think you're right in terms of his physical and mental acuity. He's in the top, at least 10% of his age category because he
eats McDonald's.
Yeah, well, he does. He does.
I do.
He loves him some Big
He
Macs
loves him
and
some
fries.
McDonald's and fries.
I
And
bet
the
they
Diet
cook
Coke.
his with real meat, though.
It's just funny to me how, and you hear these stories about people that are super wealthy. And of course, Donald Trump was super wealthy before he became president. He was a New York real estate mogul, right?
Right.
And but it's just funny to me when a man can have filet mignon delivered in front of him anytime he wants, and he's wanting to go. No, take me to the McDonald's drive-thru.
I want a Big Mac.
I want a Big Mac and fries.
That's right.
Yeah. I heard Donald Trump Jr. once tell a story. This is back when The Apprentice was big, or it had just ended.
That show?
Yes. And Donald Trump Jr. Told the interviewer that his dad was really a down-to-earth guy who would much rather just be sitting on the couch with a glass of milk and a cheeseburger than he would be at like a formal dinner.
Right.
That's been years ago.
Well, it's also. I do want to add this part as a reminder. It is remarkable. I think it's underappreciated regardless of what side you're on, how much he travels and how much he speaks and how engaged he is as a president. Now, also, we're coming off the heels of Joe Biden. So you have
Basement Joe.
Basement Joe. You have two totally different
I know
situations as far as comparison goes. So one could look way better than historical, but the point is that it does go to him. It is amazing. It's remarkable what he can do and still have the help that he has.
Well, we'll see if it holds up for 3 more years, because that's how much he has, left in his second term. But I tell you what too would be, he has a uncanny ability, evidently, to process a lot of information on a daily basis. Well, any president does. Now, I will say this too: a president does have its benefits, in the sense that you got people to do stuff.
A lot of help.
And that that you
qualified.
Say jump, they say how high, and that's all day, every day. And then you have, when you travel, you got first class accommodations, and I'm just saying there are perks that go with the presidency that make life easier.
Right.
Okay.
To make it doable.
Make it doable, but at the same time, as I said, you're having to be on the phone. You're having to listen to your aides and assistants. You're having to give, directions. People want to know, is this okay to do, Mr. President? So that kind of thing is incoming all the time. So but he does have the ability, at least right now, and hopefully and prayerfully it'll hold up for 3 more years, to be able to, be in a position of leadership that people know he is all systems go.
And I pray and hope you're right, but if it doesn't, the other side can't say anything.
So, you mean because they said 0 for?
No, he was fully fit.
Auto pen.
Yeah, auto pen. That's what we're gonna go with from now on.
President auto pen.
Just President auto pen, and everyone will know. But they can't say they lost all credibility.
You're right. No, you're right about that. You're absolutely right about that. The Democrats can't say anything about. Well, he's
I remember that last year, his last year of his
Biden
President auto pen. The last year of President auto pen, I remember going. We would play his audio and we go. We all know the reporter knows what's going on. The left knows what's going on. Which is to Ray's point. Now it was late in the game, but that's why they pulled him.
Right. Well, when he did the debate. The debate in Atlanta that he did against Trump in June of last year. Last year, right? Yeah, June of 2024 was when the whole world saw.
Can't believe it was that soon.
The whole world saw what a lot of people knew, and that was Joe Biden was incapable of the faculties needed to be president of the United States. I mean,
I forget some of the phrases the news reporters would say. They'd say things like, "He's fully equipped. He's fully adequate. He's all there." Whatever. However they. But they.
You talk about gaslighting with a capital G.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Good night. All right, but I've never heard a White House give such a 2-minute description of.
Yeah.
I've never heard.
Inside of the blood vessel walls look great, right?
I've never heard
profusion.
Yeah.
Abdominal image showed all major organs to be
This
healthy and well perfused.
Well perfused.
With no acute or chronic concerns to be noted.
I concur.
I mean, you talk about.
We agree.
You talk about any questions?
That's right.
We don't even understand what we just read. So there.
If you say he's well perfused, I'll go. I'll write it in my newspaper.
Right.
Okay. We'll be back momentarily. Jenna Ellis coming up. Stay with us.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildmon.
In the book of Matthew, 6th chapter, there's some words that go like this that our Lord spoke. Therefore do not be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will be anxious for itself. Let the day's own trouble be sufficient for the day. Abraham Lincoln and some of his friends were once forced to do some traveling during a very rainy season. They'd crossed many small streams, and the water was high and fast in all of them. After a long day of facing streams that nearly washed them away, they came to a lodge where they spent the night. Sitting around the fire that night, the men were talking about how high the streams were and how fast the water was flowing. Then someone brought up the fact that the very next day the group would be forced to cross Fox River. Now, Fox River was very difficult to cross even when the water was low, and if it was up in comparison to the other streams, it'd be nearly impossible to cross. As they sat around and talked, many expressed the thought that Fox River would be uncrossable. Since they had a date to keep, it was important to the traveling group that they not be delayed on their journey. For some time that night, the group sat around discussing the river and the awful possibilities that would be open to them when it came time to cross it. Following some discussion of the river, someone noticed that there was a Methodist preacher spending the night in the lodge who traveled the territory quite often, who was very familiar with Fox River. One of the group asked the preacher about Fox River and how he managed to cope with it when the water was high. "Preacher, you've been listening to us talk about Fox River. Do you have any special way of getting across that river, any rules to follow that might help us?" a member of the group asked. "Well, now that you ask," replied the preacher, "I do have one fixed rule about the river. I've crossed it many times, and I know it's a mighty problem to get across sometimes, but I've solved the problem with just one rule." "What's your secret, preacher? Have you got a special place to cross?" "Nope, haven't got a special place to cross. I always cross it where everyone else crosses it," he says. "Then you must have a float put back nearby to help you cross it," one of the group stated. "Nope, haven't got a float put back. Just never did have the time to build one for the occasion and didn't have the money to buy one," said the preacher. "But you said you had a rule about crossing that river," one of the Lincoln group blurted out. "If you haven't got a special place to cross or a float to cross on, then tell us what your rule about crossing the river is." "Well, sir," said the preacher, "I've crossed Fox River many times, but I've learned never to cross it till I reach it." And with that, the preacher rolled over and went to sleep. You know, it's a pretty good rule to follow.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildmon, a production of the American Family Association.
This only do I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze on the beauty of the Lord and to seek him in his temple. Psalm 27, verse 4.
American Family Radio.
This is Today's Issues. Email your comments to comments@afr.net. Past broadcasts of Today's Issues are available for listening and viewing in the archive at afr.net. Now, back to more of Today's Issues.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Today's Issues. That's the name of this show on the American Family Radio Network. I'm Tim with Wesley, Chris, and Ray. And joining us now is our friend and colleague and host of Jenna Ellis in the Morning, heard on American Family Radio at 7 o'clock Central Time each weekday morning. Jenna Ellis. Good morning, Jenna.
Good morning. Great to join you guys.
Well, Ray Pritchard, he's about an hour and a half or two from you there. You're in Central Florida, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, Ray's in Central Florida. So he's already told us.
It's a great free state of Florida.
He's already told us what the weather is, so we don't. None of us need to hear that.
Well, I might as well log off then. Yeah, well, I'm going to give you the weather update.
They call it the Sunshine State for a reason, although there can be a lot of rain.
Yeah,
there can be, and we actually have some rain today, but we did not have hurricanes at all this year, so it's the first time in 10 years that a hurricane did not make landfall in the United States.
Well, that's awesome.
Right.
Hey, is it the rain there in Florida? You've been there for how long now, Jenna? This is Wesley.
About 3 years.
Okay, 3 years. So does it come in, is it all forms of rain, or does it just comes in big bunches, or does it spread out real Or you know what
all
I mean?
forms of rain.
Okay.
I'm not sure I understand that.
Oh, all forms, like could it rain for like 2 or 3
all
days?
wet, right?
That's right. Yeah, right. Okay. So does it rain for like multiple? By the way, thank you, Jenna, for pointing that out on live radio. I appreciate that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I wondered
No, it's
myself
called-
when you said different forms of rain.
Yeah.
I wondered exactly where you were going with that. I know what you mean. Let me simplify this for you so we can move on.
Yes, okay.
You meant like torrential downpours, or you mean like Seattle misting?
Yes.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there are all forms of rain. Then I can definitely use that now that I have been provided the Webster's dictionary definition of that.
Yeah.
But Florida is really funny in that a lot of times it will be this torrential downpour for like a solid 15 minutes, and then it's just done. So
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's what we're kind of used
Well,
to.
thank y'all. I thank you.
We
Thank you,
bailed
Jenna.
you out
Thank
there.
You, Dad. Thank
I
you.
don't think
Chris,
I think,
where were you? I needed you there.
I think you made the right decision not going into meteorology school. I think that was a wise choice. Yes, Professor.
By the way, you know what? I'm going to correct y'all. Every one of y'all. You can get hail. You can get rain. No, I'm just kidding. I'm trying to make it work here.
Okay.
Those are different forms of precipitation, but not actually rain.
Wesley, there's an old Chinese proverb. It's called
Stop
digging.
Yeah. When you're in a hole, stop digging.
All
right, moving right along here. All right,
Fair enough.
Jenna, what's on your radar right now as far as the news goes?
Yeah, there's a lot that's going on. I spoke on my show this morning about the Islamification of the West, or Christendom, as my guest very aptly put it. And so that was a long-form conversation today that is really worthwhile, honestly. So definitely go to afr.net or our free app, and you can always listen to the podcast version, of course, after the fact. But then we also have a few other things going on. Right now, there's a big push from the GOP Congress to pass the SAVE Act, and this is Representative Chip Roy from Texas, mainly his legislation to ensure that only American citizens vote in federal elections. And this seems like a no-brainer, but of course Democrats actually want non-citizens to vote in U.S. elections. They're the ones that challenged the census, asking that question of whether you are a citizen, which is utterly preposterous when we're talking about using the census in terms of allocation of representative government. And so the SAVE Act is a really big deal. In my opinion, this is a clarifying moment for the GOP, because if they can't do something as very basic as saving the integrity of our elections and ensuring that only citizens vote in federal elections, then they just are telling us very bluntly that they don't want to govern. Because this has passed in the Congress now, which is great. It's over in the Senate. And if the Senate does not use the nuclear option and destroy the filibuster for something that is this important, then they're never going to do it. And we saw that they didn't do it during the government shutdown. They probably are not going to do it on this, but I think that if the GOP just says, well, yeah, we're in the majority, but, hey, this antiquated rule that governs us that we can change at any time, we don't want to exercise that, and, oh, well, we did whatever we could, which was not anything, then they are just signaling that they want to be in the minority.
Okay. Well, that's encouraging.
Yeah. Well, so call your senators and say, the SAVE Act, and that's a big deal. Also, what's going on, I don't know if anybody wants to comment on that, but also two other items that are big in the news right now. The Tennessee 7 election, just in light of how frustrated the overall voting population is with the GOP as a whole. I think people still like President Trump. They're still very happy with his executive orders, his leadership, some of that, but are frustrated with the GOP overall for lack of governing. Tennessee 7, this special election, is between a Republican and what can only be described as probably one of the most crazy people that's ever run for office on the Democrat side. And I don't say that lightly. This is somebody that just has absolutely no business running for office, is literally talking about having, these weird, vivid dreams about, all kinds of different random stuff, like from a platform. I mean, she's literally insane. You guys need to go and actually watch clips of this. And the Democrats should not win. This is a district that Trump won in 24 by over 22 points. And so the Republican should get elected. But because of how many people are frustrated and just kind of throwing up their hands, now this seat is potentially in play. And so it would be a huge upset for Democrats.
Mm-hmm. Afton Ben, if I'm saying the last name correctly, is the Democrat here. Afton has been in the news because
That's
she
her
made
first name?
Yes, Afton.
I didn't go there because I didn't have any idea how to pronounce it. I wanted to say Mercedes-Benz, but I don't think that's true.
AFTYN, Afton. Afton made comments a while back on a podcast or something in which she said, "I hate Nashville," and she's running to represent a part of Nashville. So nothing says "vote me in" like "I hate this place." And that's why people are referring to it's country music as well. Fox has billed her as the AOC of Tennessee. I'm not sure if that's fair, but
I saw that district there, and I'm familiar somewhat with Tennessee. I would be stunned if she wins. That's a red district, and anyway, we'll see what happens here. But that is a special election. It is tonight. I mean, it is today. So. Make sure if you have friends or family who live in that. What district is it in Tennessee? Does that include Franklin, doesn't it?
I do not know off the top of my head where what the district lines are, but it is Tennessee District 7, so,
it looked to me like, I think I saw it, and it looked to me like it was part of Franklin, and then, which is a suburb of Nashville, and then a lot of rural.
Yeah.
Am I right?
I'm looking at it right now. The counties are Benton, Cheatham, Davidson, Decatur, Dixon, Hickman, Houston, and Humphreys. And the list goes on.
You always need to watch
including Franklin, it says.
You always need to watch out when there's a county named Cheatham in an election cycle.
Again, going back, we got to pass the SAVE Act.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I want to go back to the SAVE Act for just a minute, please. So
again, what is the SAVE Act? Jenna,
this is ensuring that only citizens vote in federal elections.
I would have thought that would already be.
You're stealing my thunder.
Okay, go ahead.
So it's safeguard American voter eligibility. All right. So my question would be, again, I'm all for the principle of this, but there's what as a Despotu law, and there's a lot of them where we have laws on books, but they're not enforced. So what is this going to do? Or can it do any different than what we already have on the books as it relates to? Because when you read off the definition here,
and I have a partial answer to the question too. Okay. After Jenna asked, and then I know Ray's not a potted plant there. He wants to participate in the show too.
Yes, sir.
We'll let you comment, but go ahead, Jenna.
Yeah, so basically what this would be doing is requiring voters to provide documentation of proof of U.S. citizenship when registering for elections. And so, as we all know, we go in and show just your state ID, or, sometimes people, they don't even require showing ID at all. And so it does obviously require that local precincts enforce that, but the act would require voters to provide proof of U.S. citizenship, not just a driver's license or some other form of ID.
I would also say this is probably, the thinking probably is this is to federalize, make a federal law that would cause these blue states to comply with
or be forced to be prosecuted federally.
You have to be a U.S. citizen to vote, because a lot of these far lefties, they're nuts. They'll say anybody gets to vote, doesn't matter whether they're a citizen or not. You've seen those proposals before. I saw them in New York and in California. So you might say, well, what do I care whether citizens of San Francisco are American or not? I don't even live in California. Well, that's fine if we're only a localized election. But when we're talking about making congressional elections, senatorial elections, presidential elections, for example, that affects the whole country.
Yeah.
So, yes, everybody who votes needs to show identification that they are indeed a U.S. citizen. Ray, go ahead.
Jen, I want to ask you about the polls, but it ties into the questions we've been discussing. You said a moment ago, widespread voter dissatisfaction with the GOP, and yet people seem to like President Trump, or at least willing to give him a benefit of the doubt. The problem there, I suppose, is how do you separate the president from his party? And the polls are just snapshots. I realize that. I've been watching Rasmussen, pretty reliable. The daily tracking poll, 47, 46, 45 today. Is the president in danger of losing his mandate with the American people?
I think that's a great question. And I think the danger is that a lot of people are seeing this as the Trump mandate and Congress absolutely failing to view that mandate as their own as well. And the danger, as I stated, with several members of Congress either resigning before the midterms, like Marjorie Taylor Greene out of Georgia, or threatening to resign, like a few other GOP members, with such a narrow majority in the House of Representatives, wouldn't it be just a classic GOP move to lose their majority without even an election? So that is potentially on the table, and it's just very, demoralizing, I think, to a lot of voters who, after the 2024 election, with how much President Trump won by a landslide, and to Tim's point, all of these elections, even if they are only statewide, they still, or even just district-wide if they're federal, they go to the whole composition as a whole of the majority in the House of Representatives and the Senate. And so we have to have enough of a conservative majority, not just, notice I didn't just say Republican, but a conservative majority who understands the Trump mandate in order to actually codify some of these executive orders, because the president is rightly constitutionally limited. And so I think that there is a sense of demoralization when you look at, and this really started to crop up a lot during the government shutdown and, of course, in the aftermath of the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination, where we saw that really the only thing that the GOP has accomplished at all in terms of codification and legislation was the One Big Beautiful Bill, which didn't even codify any of the DOJ outrageous spending issues. And that's why Elon Musk kind of gave up. So from this perch and this perspective, I think that a lot of people are demoralized, and it's incumbent upon Congress to get it together to do simple things like pass the SAVE Act, pass a good budget. We still haven't, really done much, and actually move forward on the mandate.
Yeah, I will say this. I think Elon Musk quit because he was ticked at Trump.
About what, though?
I think that was definitely part of it.
No, he was ticked at Trump because Trump's not a fiscal conservative.
Right, yeah.
Trump doesn't care about deficit spending, okay?
Right.
And now, I'm not saying he's alone. Most Republicans don't anymore. You know why? Because most Americans don't want to hear it. I think this is me talking here. So I think what Musk was upset was that Trump, he was looking at all the work he had done, and then he saw Donald Trump, the president, basically going against that with the big beautiful bill in terms of so who's right and wrong there? I'm not saying necessarily. I'm just saying that I think that's what the contention was. If you ask Elon Musk, well, it's to be fair to Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, he's dealing with four or five or six. What is it? Voting majority.
Oh, it's very small.
It's very small.
Less than
once
10.
Marjorie Taylor Greene leaves, it's going
down
to be
to four
a handful.
Something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
3 or 4.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, and with all due respect to Mike Johnson, he's been a personal friend of mine for a long time. So I know him well. I think he has a very sincere personal relationship with the Lord. He's a Christian. All of those things. His leadership, in my opinion, has been, as I've described it on my show and a couple of different interviews, as more of a life coach, counselor to people in Congress, as he even described it himself on a recent interview that he did with his wife Kelly on a podcast, than actually having firm leadership and whipping votes and saying that we've all got to come together for some of these priorities. So it seems to me that he's trying to be a little bit too much of a behind the scenes player and kind of a, let's everybody get along and, what are your needs and sort of this coexist bumper sticker kind of view, instead of taking more of a firm handed approach, which when you have that small of a majority, you may need.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, Jenna, so your podcast is up now?
So my weekly podcast comes out every Friday. So we will be recording that soon. So stay tuned for that. But that's on demand. You can find past episodes, which are still very timely, worth listening to at afr.net or via our free app. And then also tomorrow, we're going to have a member of Congress on talking more about the SAVE Act and a few other things. And we're also in talks as well with getting Governor DeSantis back on as well, because Florida is in the midst of some redistricting proposals in light of, all of the election mess in terms of let's protect our elections, but let's also make sure that with this new census and some other things that districts are actually apportioned correctly. And if all of that goes through, Florida may end up getting 5 or 6 seats. So
I wonder if
that's a big deal as well.
By the way, who knows what the future holds for Governor Ron DeSantis, because his term as governor ends what?
January of 2027.
Jenna just had a conversation about this with Chris Salcedo.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what do you think the future holds for Governor DeSantis as far as politics?
Well, he was actually on CNN and answered the question of whether he was going to run again for president. And he basically said it's too early at this point, which I think is very wise. At the end of the day, he truly is a public servant. I don't think that he runs with the intention of just furthering his own political career. He's not a career politician. He's a lawyer. He was a JAG officer in Congress, and then a governor. And so if he doesn't see a pathway, he won't run. So what he will do if he doesn't end up running for president remains to be seen. But I think he's taking a very calculated approach. He's wanting to focus right now on the last year that he has as governor and leave Florida in the absolute best shape that he can to hand off to whoever is the next governor. And whether or not he participates in the primary in Florida also remains to be seen. And that's the most interesting question from my perspective as a Floridian.
All right, Jenna, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, bye-bye. That's Jenna Ellis joining us. Ray, any thoughts on what Jenna was sharing there?
Yeah, I want to just say this about Jenna as a person. She's the real deal, friends, the absolute real deal. You ought to listen to the program in the morning. Check out the podcast. Tim, every time we interview her, I just think she is so well-spoken on the issues of the day. And, I also agree with her about Ron DeSantis. Hey, Tim, they love him in Florida with very good reason, because the state is doing well. No state income tax. He's even said he'd like to do away with property tax here in Florida.
Yeah, that's a big one. I think I would not be shocked if we don't start seeing and hearing people say Vance DeSantis, and the reason the way that they're going to try to sell this as a ticket in 2028 is it would lock up Ohio and Florida, the 2 states they always need to win. A Republican always needs to win to get the White House.
Yeah. Ron DeSantis, I think, is the best conservative governor I can remember. There may have been some that were as good.
There may have been some as good ideologically, but actually doing it.
Well, and two, I mean, he's
articulating.
Florida's a huge state, right?
Yeah,
it's one thing to be governor of Wyoming. No, I'm not putting that.
Right, I know.
It's practically a country.
Well,
that's right.
Florida wasn't always red. Florida was purple before Ron DeSantis came along, and he's a 2-term, widely popular governor.
Deep red now.
Yeah, deep red. It's Florida's a red state now.
Yes.
So
in the 2022 midterms, Florida was the one place that had a lot of Republican gains, and it even got Brett Baer's attention, because Brett said on Fox News that evening, Florida looks more like Arkansas tonight than it did prior to this election starting.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I do think there's a future somewhere for Ron DeSantis, whether it would be, I think J.D. Vance, the current vice president, would be the nominee for the Republicans if we're today, because he is the heir apparent, and that's the way the system works. But I could definitely see Ron DeSantis, having served 2 terms as governor of Florida, being on the ticket with Vance, for example, like you're suggesting, Chris. Or in a cabinet position, Secretary of Defense or Secretary of whatever.
He was in the Navy.
Of the state. Anyway, I do think we'll be hearing from Ron DeSantis again after he leaves the governor's mansion in Tallahassee. You're listening to today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. What's your next story, Chris?
Well, I posted this on our Today's Issues Facebook page so people can go there and get the information from themselves. But there is a new report out from the National Taxpayers Union Foundation. It's the usual thing that you see at the end of a year that shows you where Americans are moving to and where they're moving from. And the National Taxpayers Union Foundation says Florida, Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee are gaining people by the minute. No joke.
By the minute,
by
Chris?
The minute, yes. No surprise here. California, New York, Illinois, Massachusetts, and New Jersey are losing people, due in part to government policies.
So the Jed Clampett scenario isn't happening anymore.
No. Also, I want to know what kind of ammo.
Jed Clampett, he moved from a red state to a blue state.
He sure did. Yeah. He sure did, and he made it better.
Of course, at that time, California wasn't a blue state; it was a red state.
Yeah,
remember this?
Yes.
Yeah, and the cement ponds and all that.
I just want to know. I've always wanted to know what kind of ammo was he using to strike oil.
You talking about Jed?
Yes, because he was shooting at an animal and he missed, and that's how he struck oil. Like, what are you shooting with?
First thing you know, old Jed's a millionaire.
Yeah. You know, Chris, when I'm watching TV or a movie and I ask a question like you asked, which is very reasonable, that's when I get jabbed in the ribs.
It's just
by my wife. She says, "Just would you shut up? It's a TV show. It's a movie."
The professor couldn't. He could make a radio out of a coconut, but he couldn't fix a hole in the boat.
I know.
Come on,
we're such a problem.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah.
You've just jumped from the Beverly Hillbillies to Gilligan's Island.
I know.
Don't get me started on Mike Brady.
You have no idea
man was an
what we just
architect
talked
and he
about.
couldn't have an add-on in the house. The kids had to share rooms.
Two classics. Well, what were we talking about before we got off?
People moving.
People move. People move.
I'm sorry, it was my fault.
Go ahead, Wesley.
Yeah, we've been seeing this over the last 10 years, and we saw it a lot following the COVID lockdowns and the restrictions that were taking place in California and New York and some of these other
blue states.
We were seeing that. So you saw a lot there. Then you saw a lot in the next wave of the public education and how they were abusing their ability to teach and stuff. Go ahead.
Florida welcomes somebody new every 2 minutes and 9 seconds, followed by Texas at roughly every 2 minutes and 53 seconds.
I want to know how many people per, is it a half a person per second then?
Oh, well, that's a good question, Wesley.
Math is why I have a BA in communication. Don't ask me things about
person.
Math. Yes.
I do think also the, in addition to, I think the business-friendly environments of
family-friendly
of the red states and family-friendly environments and more freedom.
Yeah.
Then the blue states are going more. Government control of everything, high taxation, high regulation. I mean, these are where the secular progressives, they rule the day. And in these blue states.
They're involved in every part of your life.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying, I don't want to live under this.
That's right, yeah.
So I'm going to move to a red state. So the bottom line is the red states are gaining
It's a growing trend.
That are leaving the blue states.
There was a big wave of conservative influencers that left California and moved to Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, Nashville's just going crazy as far as its growth goes from people moving from California
and Texas.
Yeah. Texas, the Dallas-Fort Worth area continues to go crazy.
Houston's one of the biggest cities in the.
And a lot of them are from California moving out. All right, we will be back with more of today's issues with Steve Paisley Jordahl, coming up in 5 minutes.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
They will thrust a cell phone in your face if you ask a question. They'll surround you with cameras. They'll scream at you. They'll try to get you to commit violence. I believe God is giving us a little bit of a glimpse into what life without Him would be like.
A Disciple's View with Todd Herman. Critical information from a faith-enriching perspective. Weekdays at noon Central on AFR. This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. The Trump administration is revealing potential plans to expand restrictions on immigration. Jillian Turner explains from the State Department.
The State Department and DHS now rolling out this new agenda they are calling re-migration. It's meant to put an end to mass migration from what the administration calls third world countries to the West. Trump officials are now saying that they actually want America's closest allies around the world to follow their lead and do the same thing, according to a cable that we have obtained, the X post from DHS and the State Department. They write, the stakes have never been higher and the goal has never been more clear. Re-migration now. Caroline Levitt says the murder of a service member 2 blocks from the White House is what is prompting this new agenda.
Tennessee's special election is today as voters decide who will fill the vacant seat in the 7th Congressional District. Republican Matt Van Epps is faced off against Democrat Afton Bann. Republicans brought out the big gun for this one.
I need somebody like Matt Van Epps, and he'll be an incredible fighter. He's strong. He's secure in himself. He's a great guy. He loves Tennessee, and he's going to be one of our best congressmen. So I just hope you can get out and you can vote. Remember, the world is watching this one. This is a big thing.
Tennessee's 7th District includes the city of Nashville. And how does Afton Bann, the Democrat who has advocated for defunding and dismantling police, feel about the Music City?
I hate the city.
Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett says people of Tennessee had better wake up.
And President Trump is exactly right. This is an indicator. Look, this lady was educated in Knoxville, Tennessee, my hometown. We need to wake up at what's going on. It's not these people moving in from California or New York or Chicago even. It's our own homegrown Marxists that we're bringing up. We've got to start paying attention to our base and what the heck's going on. And Matt is one of the best candidates I've ever seen.
The Treasury Department is investigating if taxpayer money funded a Somali terror group in a fraud scheme out of Minnesota. House Majority Whip Tom Emmer pointing the blame at Minnesota Democrat Governor Tim Walz.
You've got housing fraud. You've got daycare fraud. You've got 80 autism centers under investigation. All of this under Tim Walz's watch.
A retired naval commander believes President Trump is well within his constitutional authority to pursue an aggressive campaign against Venezuelan strongman Nicolas Maduro's narco-trafficking operations. Chad Groening explains why.
Maduro recently told a rally in Caracas that it was their historic duty to fight foreign aggressors, just as Venezuelan liberation hero Simon Bolivar did 2 centuries ago. He was responding to President Trump's warning that he can, quote, do things the easy way or the hard way. A huge military deployment remains in the Caribbean. Many observers suspect Trump may intend to overthrow Maduro, who is widely believed to have stolen last year's presidential election. Retired Navy Commander Kirk Lippold.
I think that's going to be up to the president, how far he wants to push us. I'm not sure that he is exactly interested in regime change, although that would be a welcome byproduct. But I think that the president's moves against drug cartels, and especially those designated as foreign terrorist organizations, is absolutely right.
Lippold says for decades we have done nothing to hold these drug cartels accountable.
And I think that we finally have a president who has said, enough. I am no longer going to tolerate 100,000 plus dead Americans every year at the hands of cartels and do nothing about it.
I'm Chad Groening.
Steady snow continues today across parts of the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic.
Winter storm advisories and warnings from Kentucky to Maine from a second storm in just days that led to cancellations here in Chicago, school closures, and difficult travel, including several crashes in southwest Michigan and central Ohio.
Slow down. We know that people might have all the ability and equipment to drive as fast as they want on the snow, but the other drivers could create issues too. So please just slow down a little bit. That's the key.
That's Indiana State Police Sergeant John Perrine. Fox Weather expecting up to 4 inches of snow across parts of the Northeast. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
And the U.S. stock market is holding stronger as both bond yields and Bitcoin stabilize. At this hour, the S&P 500 up 0.5%, the Dow added 180 points, and the NASDAQ Composite rose 1%. I'm Rusty Pugh.
At Wesley Biblical Seminary, we believe God is raising up a movement across our nation and around the world who hold fast to the inerrancy of Scripture and the hope of holiness. We do this through bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees, certificate programs, and even training for lay people. So whatever your next step is in being equipped for ministry, we're here for you. And if you believe these are the kind of pastors we need leading churches in the future, we invite you to think about giving to Wesley Biblical Seminary. Learn more about us at wbs.edu.
Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Thanks for listening to AFR. We do podcast this show, so if you miss an edition and you want to listen, you can just go to our AFR.net website, click on podcast, and you'll see the banner for today's issues. Check that out. AFR.net, AFR.net. That's American Family Radio. Tim, Wesley, Ray, and now joining us in studio is Steve Paisley-Jordahl. Good morning, Steve.
Hey, good morning, everybody. How y'all doing?
We're doing great.
Good.
Doing
Good.
great.
Good.
We count on you not to bring us down.
No, I got good news to lead with if you
All
want
right,
to go right there.
go ahead.
So you remember the shooting in D.C.? How's that the way to start with the good news? The guardsman that was shot in D.C. by an Afghan national who's brought into the country, the Sarah Beckstrom has died the other day. She died the same day we found out. But
20-year-old.
The 20-year-old. Andrew Wolf, the other victim, is now reported being alert and awake.
Yep, he gave a thumbs up, moved his toes.
Yeah, so
that's good news.
Good news for him. So just an update. We don't have to. I don't know a whole lot more than what Wesley just said. So, but good news that the guy there.
What about the assailant?
His name is Ramanullah Lachenwall, and he was injured, and I don't have an update on his health, although I don't believe it was grave injury. He will be charged with murder in the first degree, according to Janine Pirro, who's the attorney in D.C., facing charges of assault with intent to kill while armed.
Did he ever state a motive? Or did you know?
They reported on.
Or did they discover you know how people leave a manifesto or writings, or they tell people why they're doing something? Was that ever?
I've seen several things written. I don't know anything official. Of course, they're going to need an investigation, and they're going to hold things like that pretty close to the vest while they're doing the investigation. He was a former aide to the CIA in Afghanistan. He was one of the nationals that we had employed. You know how sometimes they have translators and people that help on the ground in there, and they were given fairly broad discretion to bring those people in to this country, I think. And, of course, everybody that was coming into the country was broadly brought in under President Biden. There's now a discussion on about did we vet him enough, because he has shown tendencies of either being radicalized here or we missed it on his way in.
Well, I would say, Ray, if this fella is, by the way, we praise the Lord that the National Guardsman is recovering.
Yeah,
I guess you could say.
Andrew Wolf is his name.
Okay, and we were heartbroken, when we learned the news that the 20-year-old young lady had. Was that Thanksgiving or day or that she passed? Anyway, he shot him
Wednesday.
He shot him at point blank range. Evidently, the attack took place at point blank range.
Yeah.
Against two of them. But by the way, did they have weapons?
Yes, but they did.
Okay.
But I think the gentleman was engaged by a third troop.
Yeah, there's a third National Guard gentleman that got involved as he saw it unplay, and he shot.
He shot him.
Yeah.
So they were they were basically ambushed by this guy.
Yes,
right.
Exactly how it's been described.
Okay, and he drove. Did he drive or fly?
He drove.
He drove from the state of Washington, Ray, to Washington D.C. That's as I said yesterday, I think it was, that's a long, long time to think about what you're going to do.
You can't get further without getting wet.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is a case where it was boiling inside him for a long time. And I'm not surprised, Steve, that they didn't catch it. They didn't look. If you helped our troops in Afghanistan, right, that puts you way over ostensibly on the good side of the ledger.
Right.
And I understand why those people got preferential treatment. You help the
Right.
good guys, we'll give you a chance over here. But something snapped inside him. Or maybe, Steve, maybe he got radicalized after he got here.
That's
to
what
the
they're
US.
trying to figure out. It's one of the discussions they're having right now, and I'm sure that the investigators will have that in hand. They haven't told us yet.
Well, the obvious, which I know the liberal media won't talk about much, but the obvious thought that most of us have is this is a guy who got, if you want to call it, got radicalized by Islam. And when you're in the eyes of a committed Islamist, the infidels are need to be killed. Okay,
That's right.
that's why they yell Allah Akbar when they commit a atrocity or a crime. So, in somebody like, if this guy was radicalized in the same way at the 9/11 Islamists were,
That's right.
then he drove all the way across the country because he wanted to kill two of what he would call Satan's agents, which would be, or more, which would be the American soldiers.
There's another possibility I probably should bring up, which are reports of him being just fairly mentally unwell in Washington. There were reports of him locking himself in his bedroom for long periods of time when his wife was away and he had to take care of the kids. They'd show up at school dirty and unkempt.
Well, he may have been, he may have been mentally unstable. I'm sure some, but at the same time, as I say, you don't drive 3,000 miles and know which direction you're going, how to get there, how to get my gun, how to walk out on the street, how to ambush somebody. That's not a crazy person. A crazy person goes out in the backyard and howls at the moon.
Yes.
Okay, this is a guy who was plotting and planning his evil deeds. That's not insane. Okay.
That's right. Yep.
Whatever it is, it's not insane. So it leads me to believe it's as I described it. He became an Islamist, and he believed that he was doing the work of Allah to kill the infidel, and the infidel's agents would be American soldiers. So I don't, again, who knows why he went in that direction, because if he came to this country, after helping our CIA, and then he goes off on this tangent like this.
Yeah.
All right, but anyway, good news.
Yep.
Our second story, Steve.
All right. If you are the parent of a child in the digital age, this is a question you have asked yourself. I know probably we could talk with Wesley about this topic. When is it appropriate to give your child a cell phone or a digital screen? Because
I'm glad I'm not raising kids in this era.
Boy, howdy.
Ray, you glad you're
Look, I paid my dues.
Yeah, I know.
But
I'm glad. I'm glad
it's tough. It's tougher now.
Yeah.
The pressures are much greater now.
There's a study out of the journal Pediatrics that finds that children who had smartphones by the age of 12 were at a higher risk of depression, obesity, and insufficient sleep than those that had not yet been given a cell phone.
So there's different layers here. So
Yeah, tell us, because you have young children, all under 10, right?
That's right, all under 10.
Three kids under 10.
Any of them have
How you handling this one?
Okay, so there's different layers here, and so you've got people that are absolutes. You
mean absolutely not?
Well, I'm gonna be careful with my analogy here, but I'll just do this. It'd be helpful. So you got those that believe. There's got those in the Christian camp that believe that homeschool is the only way, and anything else short of that is bad. Okay, and they don't calculate any other factors. They just say homeschool or nothing. Well, then you've got others that would say, what difference does it make? They're going to have to learn on their own. They're going to have to learn one day, so they just are careless with all things because they got to grow up sometime. So just having a legitimate screen in front of you is not in and of itself bad. I think it's what they're watching.
Excuse me for interrupting, though. I'm trying to connect what you mean about homeschooling or public school and having to do with phones.
So what I'm using is that in school or with the screen time that we're talking about, there's two camps. There's a couple camps. There's the camp that says absolutely no screen under any circumstances. It's all evil. It's all bad.
The homeschool thing was a category of extremists on one side, extremists on another. Like there's extremists on the schooling issue, there's extremists on the digital phone issue.
Just to be clear, I don't think homeschooling families would want to be called extremist here.
No, there are Christians in the homeschooling camp that would demonize people that go to public school that are Christians.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Go back to the phones.
Yeah, so back to the phones. So you got phones, you got tablets, you've got TVs, you got computers. There's multiple different devices here. So I think the point I'm making is each situation, each circumstances would have maybe a little different answers. So let's just go with what some of the basics, some of the things that are common ground. So I would say that you should limit all screen time at home or in the car or with your family that you can control, because the world in and of itself is already a tech world. We now live in a tech world. So you can't the point I'm making is you can't avoid technology altogether. That's not a reasonable
for most people.
That's not a reasonable goal. So I think you don't need to look at it like any tech at all is always bad. However, I think you need within what you can control. I would limit the amount of time that they're on the screen.
You do that?
I do. I limit the amount of time. So, for example, and it varies. Some people are more rigid or more. They're like this amount of time. It varies for me. So some days they may get an hour of screen time. But come back to the question of what the screen. But so you want to limit your screen time maybe an hour a day. But what if you're traveling and you're in the car? Maybe it's 2 or 3 hours. But there is a limit. You need to be conscientious about how much you're looking at a screen and not interact at the expense of not interacting with people. Now, at the dinner table, there are certain locations that the absolute no's. So for us, we don't do it at the dinner table. We don't do it when we go out in public, and we don't do it when we're out in public. But also, it's more concerning about what they're taking in. So you want to monitor what they take in, meaning that you want to put limitations on their devices to make sure they can't watch
parental controls.
Parental controls. That's another thing. As far as which age, I don't think at 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't give phones. I think that's more specific to what they're talking about here. I wouldn't give a phone that had internet access. See, I'm not one that says a kid can't have a phone with a screen, because that's no different than an iPad. And if they can call me for an emergencies at 10 or 12 years old, I think that's fine. I think the biggest danger of a cell phone for a kid is being connected to the internet. I think that's the bigger problem than just actually having a phone, if you're limiting how much they use it.
Yeah, I can't imagine any responsible parent, maybe I'm wrong today, just giving a phone or an iPad over to a kid with unfettered access to the internet.
Responsible parenting is the
strategy there. Ray, you're asking for danger right there.
Oh, and there are too many parents, Christian or otherwise, who use the iPad. Well, I see that a lot. The iPad with the kids is a kind of narcotic. Keep them quiet, substitute for the babysitter, substitute for parents spending time with them. That's dangerous. You're just handing your kids over.
That's right.
To the forces of evil in the world. Now, I have, of our 2 oldest grandkids, both boys, one 15 and one 14, their parents have allowed them to have phones. But I don't know. They're like the old-fashioned flip phones,
That's
not
right.
like not
it's
like
for
iPhone.
emergencies. It's for communication. It's for updating their parents on if things have changed based on the plans that they told them they were doing. Things like that. There's a place for that for sure.
Well, and Wesley, they can text me, Grandpa, right?
Yeah.
That we can text back and forth. But if I have a picture, I have to send it to their parents. They have the mom and dad have rigged up the phones.
That's right.
However that works. So they can't send or receive pictures or YouTube videos or anything like that. So basically, it's old-fashioned texting, and I think that's a pretty good safeguard.
Yeah. I guess back to my original point is when you begin down this road, this conversation about should kids have phones and technology, the old school would say absolutely not. It's awful. It's so bad for so many reasons. But the reality is that you just can't avoid technology for the most part in 2025. The question is, how do we use it and how do we go about it?
Yeah.
But now there is the other side of this too. If there's unfettered access, even if they don't have access to the internet, let's say that they're not even doing bad things. I do think there's a certain level of a child looking at a screen that's unhealthy
Yeah.
for many reasons.
That would include TV.
That would include TV. Mentally, it would also how they interact with other kids. How do they handle problem-solving issues?
You don't want them zombied out all
yeah.
the time, and we see that with kids too.
Well, 15, 20 years ago, this was a little bit easier, but like I said, I've just given you multiple nuances here. You can have a tablet, a computer. The question is what are your kids watching, and how often are they watching it? That's the main question, and I think that both of those have to have limitations. As far as the age goes, which is really back to the original article, I don't think there's too young of an age that's wrong for them to look at a screen or be a part of a screen. I think given a phone, I would not give a child, I wouldn't give any kid under 8, I don't know, 8, I hadn't thought about it, maybe under 17, a phone with internet, or unfeathered.
The study here,
unfiltered, yeah.
The study here it deals with health outcomes. So we're talking about a couple different things. You're talking about teaching and the moral instruction of your children and the harm that can come to them from like exposure to pornography and that kind of stuff. This particular study is talking about health outcomes, depression, obesity, and insufficient sleep. And I don't know why they chose the random age of 12 as the delineation. I think just as let's say by the time they were teenagers, should they or shouldn't they is what they were trying to find out. And they did come up with different, like you said, there are certain times and places. One of the solutions they had, they found that 63% of 11 and 12-year-olds reported having an electronic device in their bedroom. One of the rules that this study suggests maybe putting in place is you can't use your device in your bedroom.
That's right. There you go.
I got a comic strip yesterday. It was a meme, not a comic strip. It's, the 3 monkeys: see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. You know that, Ray?
Yep.
Okay, you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. They said that the 4th monkey has emerged. He sees no one, hears no one, and speaks to no one. And it's got a monkey looking at his phone.
Yep, that's right.
Like zombied out.
Right.
We all have, 99% of us have to look at our phones. I'm looking at my phone right now to see this. But I'm talking about, we know the folks, especially teenagers, who are on the phone 24/7, and they're always looking down. I'm telling you, chiropractors in 20 years.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And thumb surgeons.
That's right.
They're going to be a big market for those. All right, next story, Steve.
All right. Hey, there's a video out that I wanted to play, or some audio I want to play for you guys by a former Fox TV host. Her name is Laura Logan. And she has determined that there's a pattern to all of the crises that the Democrats and the left are bringing up. There's some things in common. Let's listen to cut 13.
They want to take race, they want to take differences, and they want to create them, turn them into problems which can never ever be solved.
Okay.
So the color of your skin, you can't change it. Therefore, you can never solve this problem.
Yep.
Unbiased racism, it's unconscious. If you're not conscious of it, you can't fix it. So, and if you look in all of these places, they create issues. Like as a man, you're going to have masculine instincts. They now teach you that masculine instinct is evil. It's a problem can never be solved. CO2. We create CO2 as we breathe out. It's critical for life on Earth. They created a nonsense problem that can also never be solved. Transgenderism, it's the same thing. They've made those things that are natural and instinctive in us, they've made those war crimes.
And basically, once they have a problem you can never solve, they can control it forever. They have to manage it. And that's why global warming and all those kind of things seem like an endless series of control issues.
Sounds like a good evil strategy to me. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, just about every issue that if they call it a crisis, it falls under this.
Well, the global warming.
Exactly right.
Global warming is a prime example. Man-made global warming. What Rush Limbaugh called environmental wackos.
Yep.
Figured out that they couldn't sell that to the public, so they got rid of because of the globe wasn't always warming.
Right.
And so they had to switch to climate change.
But
because there's always climate change.
But
right?
do you notice how quickly it became the climate crisis? They attached the word crisis to a whole bunch of things that they want to be crises because then it's...
Yeah, Bill Gates, who was one of the people screaming the loudest about this, about 6 weeks ago, came out and said, oh, well, it's not as bad as I thought it was. You remember this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's not as bad as we thought it was.
Like, what, 20
Sorry.
years of...
And he said, we really need to be dealing with, like, world hunger or something like that.
Right.
But you know why he did that, right?
Why is that?
He tried it. He tried creating meat without using meat.
Bill Gates did?
Yeah, and it didn't work. So he was trying to create a world without red meat, and it didn't work. So
I
he's
didn't know that.
Yeah, so
That's wrong. That's just wrong.
So then, because it failed, then we got to go back to we can use natural gases. We can, because
Actually, they came up with a solution to the red meat thing. I've been hearing in the last couple of weeks, some geneticists have found a way that there's a tick that if it bites you, it makes you allergic to red meat. And some of the more wackier are saying they could bioengineer that to make it so that humans consume this, even without their knowing, consume this particular DNA strand. And what it does is it makes everybody allergic to meat. That way they can do red meat consumption down and problem solved.
Problem's not solved for me.
No.
What? What?
What he said was, let me interpret this for you, Ray?
Yeah, please do. I heard the word tick. And
he's saying that they're going to start, whoever these people are.
Let's call them environmental wackos.
Okay, they're going to want you to get you a tick bite intentionally, so you're allergic to red meat.
There are some ticks that exist
that
in
way,
nature that
you don't eat cows, and you know what cows do. They increase global warming, right? So
that's just evil on so many levels.
So let me go back to what I was saying. So to clarify, I was joking about that there was a direct correlation to the red meat and Bill Gates changing his mind. However, it was ironic that about a year ago he invested a lot of money and was trying to produce ground beef using plants.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, that didn't work.
It did work.
Ground
because
beef
his
made from plants.
So his investment failed. So the humor, the joke I'm making is because he realizes that we can't sell meat through plants, that therefore we're going to need the cows.
Right,
so therefore he's got to change his mind.
Right, gotcha. Well, all right, we're out of time here. Thank you, Steve.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Ray.
You bet.
Thanks to Wesley.
Mm-hmm.
And to Chris Woodward and Jenna Ellis and Brent Creeley, our producer here. Cole Green, our videographer. Is that what he is? Video man? The video man. And we thank you for listening to today's issues. Have a great Tuesday afternoon. Keep listening day afar, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.